And there we are, another edition of TigerBait Live. Buddy Songy in the studio here. Mike Scarborough, of course, TigerBait.com. And I think we're going to have a big show tonight. Obviously, LSU licking their wounds after a humiliating defeat in Tiger Stadium Saturday morning into the afternoon. Worst home loss in Brian Kelly's coaching career. And like the title of the show says, a win over Florida could be a shot in the arm or could help the program get healthy or well again, however you want to word it. This could absolutely be what is needed to get back on track, because I think there's going to be some ebbs and flows the whole rest of the way. So we're going to talk about that. Of course, the show brought to you by Pride Roofing, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, 855-PRIDE-16. We'll talk about them a little bit later in the show. We can talk football recruiting. We can talk fall baseball. Basketball practice, what are we, less than 30 days away from first tip? And I know they had their big event out on Friday. Looked like they had a big crowd for that. What do they call that thing, buddy?
Look, I'm sorry, man. I was supposed to get into it. I never did, and I never even heard a lot about it. So I am lost on the baskets. I do know this: Jay Johnson is loaded. Kim Mulkey's loaded. Matt McMahon's going to be good. But I have focused in, and good to see you, my man. Hey, congrats to Mike Scarborough. How about the content that he's been putting out? Him and Preston, folks, had an incredible amount of people on the post game.
You knew that was coming.
I liked it because it was a reasonable time, but I like it, and we all have opinions. And Mike, really, all kidding aside, you've done a hell of a job this year. We're at the halfway point. We hope that we have given you a little bit of an idea with our eyes, our ears, our opinions, our knowledge, our experience. But you never know how it's going to play out. 4-2 in the first 6. I picked 8-4, 9-4 winning the bowl game. Boy, that looks like I was on whiskey right now. But if they win this Florida game, then they get back old momentum on the side. LSU's won 3 straight with Florida. But what I like about it is that there's that doubt. You don't know whether to be cautiously optimistic or cautiously nervous. We're going to talk about it tonight.
Well, I see it. I'm going to get trucking with Casper in real quick. He's already out the chute with a super chat. I'm going to get to him, but also want to address with you the Stephen A. Smith comment this morning with Feinbaum. I'm just between Facebook, Twitter, everything I've seen out there. People are up in arms about that. I see our buddy Blake Ruffino in the chat. I'm sure he addressed it earlier. I popped in his show for a little bit while he was talking about Florida. But trucking with Casper with a super chat. Big thanks, Casper. Terrible in all 3 phases, absolutely terrible. But to call a fair catch at the 10-yard on a kickoff, you got to be kidding me. Never seen anything like it. Come on, man. Go Tigers. There was, like I said in the post game, if you were fired up, disgruntled, mad as hell, inebriated and mad, whatever your scenario was, there wasn't enough hatchets to go around for everything that you could point to that went wrong in that football game. Bad decisions. You can say poor coaching. You can say mistakes. Best starts things off. I know Jeray Jenkins' ball was tipped, but that looked catchable to me. Just lots of bad things there. And Tennessee came out ready to play. And I'm not ready to pick Florida and LSU, but, man, I think Tennessee's going to beat Alabama.
I think Tennessee, if they play clean, now they have a weakness with their secondary. And unfortunately, LSU wasn't able to exploit that. But as we know with a lot of film study, this thing, there's so many layers to get to. But the old ball coach, Pete Cardelli, says, KYP, know your personnel. And look, we all have opinions, but let's be honest. Jack Best shouldn't be back as the kickoff man. Malik Neighbors should be back there. He's the most explosive guy. He was going to do the guy. He dropped 2 punts, trajectory of a punt, speed of the guys coming down on a punt, totally different from kickoff. So put your people that run 4-4 or 4-5 back in kickoff. No disrespect to Jack. Tough break. But here's my question. What the hell are they doing switching him at the last minute? You don't just get out there and the game starts. You have 15 minutes to discuss that. So know your personnel, but Jack Best should not be your kickoff man. I'm sorry. Harold Perkins should not play the limited number of plays. he's fourth on the team in total tackles, and the guy hardly gets anything. He did miss a sack. He did get dominated on some plays, but this is what we talk about.
But I will say this, though.
There's a lot of personnel decisions that are questionable, Mike.
I have a hard time believing, and look, I'm not going to throw Jack under the bus, but he is not a speed guy.
Right.
But I assure you, if you got him off the record and they said, and you named Jeray Jenkins, they said, well, yeah, we put Jeray Jenkins back there and he put the ball on the ground 3 times. Or if you name Malik Neighbors, well, you saw what he did against Florida State. If you go down and name every athlete on the roster, DB, wide receivers, running backs that return punts and kicks in high school, whoever it is, I guarantee you they've tried them all. And I assure you, when they've charted each one of them, this guy does this. We kicked it to him 15 times, and he muffed it 4 times. Well, whatever it is. And so it probably comes down to the fact that Jack is the guy who's least likely to make mistakes, and he still does. I don't think they're being stubborn for stubborn's sake. And this goes into your missing pieces on that roster. And so, are they, in the back of their head when they're looking at their recruiting board for this year, are they saying, okay, of the DBs that we're after and the ones that are already committed, and of the wide receivers that are already committed, whether it's Kai Preem, is it Shelton Sampson, any of the DBs, corner safeties, those guys return punts for high school.
Sage Ryan was fantastic. He didn't get a chance. I think the big problem is you cannot simulate catching a punt and kickoff in practice when you can, and there's 100,000. So what I'm saying to you is I do think from a personnel decision that also is included with the incredible number of balls and targets to tight ends versus your guys. It also goes to going for it on 4th down. Every Tiger fan wants the coach to gamble and make a concerted effort. I mean, have we seen a trick play? I mean, it's about time, coach. Have you seen a little razzle-dazzle? LSU runs the football up the middle. They're vanilla. Everybody knows they're not the greatest of talent. So you've got to out-scheme. You've got to out-coach. And they were out-coached in all 3 phases: special teams, defense, offense, and then the Tennessee fans, rightfully so, took over the frickin' stadium. That's the kind of day we had. Short memory. But I'm just saying, I want to see Brian Kelly and his coaching staff make adjustments, because KYP, you should know your personnel better after 6 games.
I think they know it.
Well, let's see it.
The problem is it's not what they need it to be, and it's only going to get tougher the whole rest of the way. All right, guys, if you guys do it for us every week, and we thank you big time. If you're enjoying the show, please hit that like button. Absolutely, y'all are helping us when y'all do that. Doesn't cost you anything. And of course, many of you watch us each week. I see that the algorithm, our statistics. If you're not a YouTube, if you haven't signed up for YouTube, it's free. And hit that subscription button, notification bell. And every time we load up a video or go live, you'll get an alert immediately. So hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Big thanks to all of you guys for doing that each and every week. Let me fly through some of these comments. Hey, Mike, did Preston show you the pictures of the field turf stadiums at Slidell and Pearl River that I sent him? Breck needs to improve their fields. Yeah, he did. And, anybody who watched Zachary and Woodlawn last Thursday night saw the sand flying. And why did that happen? Well, Woodlawn knew in advance that they might be up for that and in trouble. They have problems every September. It's always a rainy month. And I don't know what they did. They scheduled, 2 or 3 scrimmages in August, or they had a jamboree that had 2 or 3 games. I mean, why would you do that knowing that you also have, for whatever reason, I think they have 7 home games?
But you've been wanting
that field had no chance.
But you've been wanting Breck to do the turf.
Well, it's not just Breck. It's EBR Parish Schools,
And listen,
anybody's been to Broadmoor to see a game, you want to talk about a dump.
Well, we're lucky it stopped raining when it did, because if we'd have had the deluge that we had for the month that we had in August and September, these fields they'd all be tarps.
Woodlawn gets built brand new, almost 20 years ago. Nice stadium, nice high school. You can hang meat in the gym, but they don't put field turf down. Why do they do it? Because they say, if we give them field turf, we got to give every other school in East Baton Rouge. Well, every school in Ascension has it. So they built a brand new Liberty High School, and they got that big lot in the back. They didn't build a stadium for them. So Zachary's got field turf though. They even got a video scoreboard. So if St. George happens, does Woodlawn all of a sudden have all those perks because they're not a part of East Baton Rouge Parish anymore?
You can go there. I'm not.
Yeah, I'll go there.
Hey, I just want people to understand, look, I'm not putting all the blame on the coaches. The players have got to be accountable. But what I'm saying, Mike, is that I think they've been a little bit vanilla, and it's not coincidence now. It's habit. They have gotten behind with 4 bad starts, and they just can't afford to keep putting themselves behind the 8 ball. Back to Jack. We love Jack. You're going to have 7 people blocking this week, right, because they're worried about the blitzing. And Jack would be great to chip and then go out for a pass and catch some balls. But that's what I'm talking about. Has Besh been utilized the right way this year? Most fans would probably say no. Get the ball to 80 where he can hurt people.
Nurse Court, what's up, guys? Glad to see you back, Nurse Court. Rick Cloetti. And man, I'm butcher. What's up, Nurse Court? He asked how everybody's doing. Don Wheat says everybody's great. Hal Jubin, Rick says, I came in on the tail end of Blake's show. What happened that he got pissed about? Okay, well, I'm reading stuff I don't need to be reading.
Good to see you and talk to you, Court. She, of course, is once again moving up. Did you hear LSU released it? She's in the top 1,000 Tiger fans for this football season right now.
Absolutely.
Court, hope you get in the top 100, baby.
Rick says, what's going on, Mike and Buddy? We need to move on fast. Good showing versus UP could help our psyche. Absolutely. 6-6. Some of us are delusional. I put a poll on the front page of TigerBait. It looks like 7-5's running away with it right now.
Well, wait, I don't understand the comment. Was that
anybody who thought he's probably saying anybody who thought LSU should be 10-2 or 9-3 or 8?
Well, yeah.
I mean, I was 8-4.
I was 8-4.
But he knows about. He vouched for it. I was leaning 7-5, but I said I'll go 8-4 just because I don't want the hassle.
Well, but listen, folks, this is the thing that you can't ever account for. I looked at the roster, Mike. I think 11 players, big time players, have been significantly hurt with injuries. Hell, don't you think Armani Goodwin out, but the hammy's hurting him a bunch? He's their best running back by far.
Yep.
By far. And so Mason Smith, that's a freak thing. Of course, the 2 necks with Major Burns. And
they had an unbelievable August.
And so what I'm saying is this is why we told you they were undermanned. They're going to get well. They're going to get back to 85. But you still want to believe, as a fan, as that game gets closer to Saturday, you look at your special one and you say, baby, I think they got a chance this week. But in retrospect, Josh Heupel put a butt kicking on LSU.
Absolutely. You got to give Tennessee a ton of credit.
A lot of credit. They're really good this year, folks.
Yeah, I'm pulling for them Saturday. I can tell you that.
I am too.
Blaine Smith, good evening, Mike and Buddy. The Mississippi River gets any lower, we may be able to open up game day traffic through there.
Hey, by the way, I never got the update from you. How did the traffic go in with the 11 o'clock kick, and how was it going back? Because everybody left. We
did real well. I told Preston, I said, don't even play. Get up at 7:15, 7:30, and be on the road. I left the house at about 7:45 and hit River Road. No traffic.
How many?
Pulled right in, perfect spot, and then Kent Lowe had breakfast.
Okay.
Ready to go.
Hey, how many Tennessee fans do you think were there?
Dude, they had a lot.
15,000.
I bet it was more than that.
Because I saw Georgia bring 20.
Let me tell you something.
I was in the stadium for that.
Into the third quarter, all I saw was orange.
Oh, there's no doubt.
Yeah.
They want to be relevant again, and LSU fans
and
don't.
They gobbled up third-party tickets everywhere they could find them. Those orange shirts, they were easy to spot. And now what are we seeing? At Neyland for this weekend, the third-party price for those tickets. What are those maxing out at, guys? What are they up to, about $1,500 a pop now?
Oh,
that's national championship game pricing right there.
That's a CBS game. Of course, Alabama, I hadn't checked it, but they were 7.5-point favorites. I love Tennessee with the points, but I think if they play clean and with the confidence, Mike, that kind of offense gives Nick Saban's defense trouble. The problem is that LSU did not take advantage of their secondary. And, man, in all these film studies, Carter and everybody, you see, and it's so frustrating for the LSU fan base to see, Daniels, there were 4 or 5 times he's sitting back there 4 or 5 seconds, and then he can't find it.
He don't want to uncork it.
And runs, and there's people wide open. So it's frustrating for the players. And, by the way, folks, we had a players-only meeting before this show today, Mike and I.
Player owners meetings. What is that? I mean, we've heard about those 2 weeks in a row now.
Look, whatever works, but you better beat Florida if you want to shop before midnight. No, seriously.
I mean, seriously. I mean, players, that's good. I mean, but do you really need that to tell your teammate to pull his head out of his ass? I mean, you do that with your buddies anyways. I don't. I mean, maybe it's different at halftime. I just don't know where that your coach has got to be on top of that.
Well, let's address the elephant in the room real quick. If LSU wins the toss, what should Brian Kelly do?
He should defer.
I think he should defer. I mean, they've been behind almost every game. Taking the football's not working out. They've got to figure out a way to start quicker.
American Patriot with the super chat. Thank you, American Patriot. BK is partially to blame for the muff. He moved best 25 yards across the field seconds before the kickoff.
Yep, I said that.
Did he get set when the ball was kicked?
Probably. Exactly. Great point.
Spring Hill Outdoors. Thank you for that super chat, American Patriot. Feinbaum had to tell Stephen A to pump the brakes. It's just his first year. Al Basilla with a super chat. Thank you, Al. I don't see a comment, but if you got one, type it in the chat and I'll look for it. But thank you all for those super chats. Bama's still a 7.5-point favorite, says Hal Jubin.
Yeah.
By the way, any girls or ladies going to be at the Bingo Bells on Friday? If you know who the guest is, let me know.
Hey, the Bingo Bells and
a friend of mine's getting to go, and I asked her who was speaking, and she didn't know. I imagine it could be Mulkey.
A lot of girls in this chat.
Nick Diaz with a comment that is how I've thought. This reminds me of Troy in 2017. The fact that LSU got their butts kicked against Tennessee makes me only think they will squeeze out a win at Florida. What say you? That's been my thought. But I also had that sort of thought last week, thinking that after 5 yards of offense the previous week that they'd bounce back and do something that they didn't do, and things only got worse. So we'll see.
So who's a better coach, Billy Napier or Brian Kelly?
Kelly.
And you've seen Florida play. You've seen LSU.
Who has more talent, though?
Well, but neither team has been consistent. We don't know what LSU teams could show up, and Florida has darn sure not been consistent. So I think Kelly can go in there and win the coaching game, but the players have got to play better.
You rattled off all the injuries.
Holding on to the football.
You take that away from a 63-man roster, scholarship athletes, and then you start saying at the midway point of the season, who's your mid-season all-SEC first and second team? How many LSU guys you fighting for to be on the first team or second team? I can only think one. I can give you three for all freshman team. So where do you expect to be one loss? Where do you expect to be in the final standings if that's all you can say? You're going to be below average in the SEC if you're not able to say at least a half a dozen guys that you could argue for first or second team, all SEC.
Yeah.
So other than Ojulari, who would you argue for?
Man, I think Jarrett Bernard Converse has had a decent year, but not all SEC worthy. Jay Bramlett kicked a 59-yard punt and out-kicked his coverage, and Kelly wasn't happy about that. He's done a good solid job.
And by the way, and it's not to say that some of the guys on the roster aren't first-team SEC talent, but it's all about the performance at the end of the year.
Like it this year.
So.
I mean, offensively.
I think Malik Neighbors. If Malik Neighbors, what draft pick do you think he'd be?
Oh, I mean, he's got a long way to go. He's just sophomore, but.
No, but he's going to be a decent round draft pick.
Oh, absolutely. But look, he's got like one touchdown. This is the thing. I mean, you got to get the ball. They did complete 32 balls, Mike. People don't realize they had a 300 yards passing, but guess what? Per pass, 7 yards a pop or whatever. So they've got to take some chance. For Nurse Court and Kristen and all of our great female fans, we brought the shirt in because of two reasons. I want to see him throw the deep ball, the long ball, And LSU baseball is loaded. I'm going to predict it tonight. Over 120 home runs with LSU baseball. They're loaded this year.
Absolutely. Talk to a friend of ours that's his job. You know who it is. You introduce me to him. And Omaha. That's all. I keep saying it.
Let's go one month at a time. But I also want to see Jaden Daniels and the guys hook up with the deep ball. I'm not here to bash Denbrock again. I just think they've been a little conservative. And if you want to gamble, don't take 3 points off the board, or don't not punt before halftime and crush your team. I think you got to be a little more smarter with the gamble. But you and I both know this, and you know this out there. Brian Kelly didn't think he could beat Tennessee playing straight up. And when you fumble the kickoff and then you give up a punt return and you 10-0 down, let's be honest, that heartbeat and all of a sudden there's more of a sense of urgency. You could see it on the field. It was so much tension you could cut it with a knife. And when there's tension on the sidelines, guess what? You players play up tension. Somehow they got to go over there, be confident, and be a little more cool about it. And this is going to be a physical game, Mike. This is the game where you're going to find out after this game, is LSU going to be able to get the back half of the season at the line of scrimmage?
I mean,
and that's the SEC.
When Anthony Bradford has to be your left tackle.
Well, thank goodness he'll be at right guard this weekend because Will Campbell's going to play.
Yeah. Trucking with Casper with another super chat, man. Big thanks to you. Offensive line isn't good enough to let wide receivers get downfield, and Jaden Daniels sucks at intermediate to deep throws anyways, even if the offensive line did hold up.
We need to give him a super chat. He's a heck of a
I need him. I'm going to run into Casper one day.
Yeah.
Let's see what we got here. When will we see Nussmeier? I was thinking about Nussmeier early in that deal, and you saw what Brian Kelly's little back and forth with Cabo was like. But yeah, there's I don't know what you do there.
Well, look, I think if Nuss would not have turned it over twice in the Southern game, especially the brain fart with the 95-yard pick six, I think they might have had a little more propensity to put him in. He does throw a better ball. He is going to see receivers more wide open, and he is not going to go back there 5 seconds and then run because you don't have the escapability. That being said,
I think when you're down 3 scores,
well, that's what I was going to say.
I think he's your only hope.
But that's what a lot of people thought he should have gotten a shot, and I think Brian Kelly answered the question, and we all should know the answer. He's not going to go in unless Jaden Daniels gets dinged and hurt during the game. That, to me, is what that answer said.
And what does that tell you about his future?
Who?
Nussmeier's.
Week to week, baby. If he gets hurt and he's out for the year, he's got to start, man. You never know, Jaden Daniels.
No, I'm talking about off season.
Well, I mean, like I said, let's worry about that next year.
Yeah. Guys, do me a favor. If you're enjoying the show, again, hit the like button and please share to your Facebook, Twitter. Hit that share button, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever you want to share it. We appreciate it.
By the way, Nussmeier was one of the vocal guys in this players only meeting, according to one of the players at player interviews yesterday. So, absolutely. Of course, you guys know we're here each and every week, thanks to our dear friends and our partners over at Pride Roofing. And let's go ahead and hear from Mike and Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael.
I'm Alex.
At Pride Roofing, we handle commercial and residential work.
TPO, shingle, and metal inventory. We got it.
Property still in disarray from the recent hurricanes and hailstorms. Insurance claims?
No problem. So you know Pride Roofing is the official roofer at TigerBait.com.
In fact, notify TigerBait and we'll give you a free roof inspection. And on top of that, you get a free year subscription. Call 855-PRIDE-16. Se habla español.
There you go, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16. And please, whatever you do, tell them you heard about them on TigerBait. And if you're not already a subscriber to TigerBait, they're going to pay for you to have premium TigerBait for a year. They're paying the bill, and you cannot beat that. Call them for your free roof inspection. Tell them you heard about it on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for it. And that's whether you're a commercial, need your business's roof looked at, or your residence. and that's anywhere in South Louisiana, anywhere on the Gulf Coast of Mississippi, all the way up to Jackson, Mississippi, and as far north in Louisiana as Alexandria, and they go all the way to Vinton, Louisiana, big in Lafayette, big in Baton Rouge, and of course huge on the North Shore, Hammond, Tangi, and of course based right there in Albany. And of course Mike Faraday is a proud LSU grad and was born and raised right here in Baton Rouge.
And his brother played on the LSU.
He was a walk-on fullback.
As I have gotten to know Mike and Tammy and Alex and Bessie, you know, we say this all the time. You want to do business in this business with great integrity. They take great pride in the job they do. You're going to take great pride in the job they do because it's going to hold up and it's going to deliver what they say to. That it is, but they're good people and they're the salt of the earth. They're hardworking people. He puts all the money back, and they just want to get an opportunity. And trust us, folks, the roof over your head is more important than the roof over theirs. And remember, when the storm came, they believed that they were getting people fixed up before they even had the roof on back at the.
By the way, and y'all know Corey Johnson, talk show host in New Orleans. He had half his roof blown off.
Yeah, where you at, Corey?
And he got hooked up with somebody he had known, and I'm telling you, he was at wit's end because he was
crying on the phone with you.
Yeah, he was in a bad way, and I gave him Pride Roofing's number, and they were there that day and got him all tarped up, and so he could make it, and then they were out there quicker than you can imagine to put the new roof on, and he couldn't thank me enough for what they did. Big in New Orleans. So anywhere you are in Louisiana, that's who you want to use.
855-PRIDE-16. Locally here, 225-275-2041. Tell them Mike Scarborough and Buddy sent you over.
Absolutely. This Florida game.
How good do you think?
Look, losing to Tennessee is one thing. The score is what really irks people. But if they can beat Florida, and that would make them 5-2?
Correct.
Without that humiliating score, 5-2 is probably where most people would think LSU should be. So what kind of tune is everybody singing next week? But I think you can have another pothole the next week. You can win one, lose one. So there's going to be some ups and some downs the whole rest of the way, I think. So can they get a little bit of magic and get to 8, or is it likely 7?
Well, look, I think it all depends on the Florida game. For those people.
But you need to get Armani Goodwin back and some of these other things. Major Burns, how soon can you get him back?
Hey, if the coaches.
We didn't even talk about Major Burns, what missing him has meant.
Well, but if the coaches listen, and this is one of the things I want people to understand, because we criticize what they're trying to do with the talent. But how many people would want to come into a major program like LSU and have 40 freaking players that were available? Now, some of them came back from injury and some of them left and some of them got booted and all of that. And they did a hell of a job. And that's why Brian Polian deserves a lot of credit. But the fact of it is once you start playing football, they want to see you put the players in the best position to be successful. Everybody knows LSU's a year or two away. This is a rebuild, not a reload. Remember, we said that after one of the practice guys said, "Oh, buddy, not a rebuild." They want to believe LSU's got more 4 and 5 stars than anybody, but they don't. It's not even close. So have some patience, Pills. They did a hell of a job. But, I mean, there are some questions that we're going to find out in the last 6 games. Is Brian Kelly hard-headed on offense and not willing to be a little more versatile on what he calls and how he attacks defenses and game planning? And like Tucker said, you're moving Jack Bash right before the kickoff. What the hell were you doing 10 minutes before the game?
Which coach offensively do you think is banging their head or shaking their head or fighting the most for some unique wrinkles in the offense? Is it Sloan? Is it Denbrock? Is it Hankton? Is it maybe even Frank?
And let me tell you, Brian Kelly has chewed on all of them.
I tend to think it might be Sloan. I'm gonna give it to the guy that's younger. But one of the things that I was told it was why Denbrock left Notre Dame for Cincinnati was because he wanted to run his own offense, and I mean, we would hear that under Miles. Miles would want a game plan on Thursday evening, and offensive coordinator would come back in on Friday morning. Didn't matter who it was, Croton, any of them. And they'd have red lines through all the work that they had done all week long. And that's what head coaches can do.
Well, it's not an easy.
But the offensive coordinator takes the heat.
But he does. Denbrock takes the heat. You know, a lot of it's Kelly. But what I was going to say is this is not an easy situation because, look, it's one thing to have a fan base disenchanted and unhappy. But you got players like this going, throw me the friggin' ball, I'm open. And then you got other people calling to the guy who can deliver the football but has a propensity to throw an INT and can't escape. No disrespect, folks, but these running backs, LSU usually has 4 stud running backs. I keep asking you about this, and I know Trey's coming in. I know Caleb's coming in. But, Mike, watch college football. Everybody's got 1 or 2 great running backs. LSU is struggling to fill the roster with 3. The rust is coming off Emory. They don't play Noah Kane until the second half. And Josh Williams is a nice player, but do any of those guys start at any of these other?
By the way, yeah, earlier I said one guy, Ojlar. I think Jay Ward would be second team All-SEC at least.
Yeah, but guess what he had on Saturday? 1 tackle. See, he wasn't in the box. He wasn't in the action.
He's been fantastic.
He's going to be fantastic. I'm glad you said it. Jay Ward has a big game. How about a turnover, either INT or picking up a fumble for Jay Ward?
Greg Brooks has played well. I mean, look, it's not throwing anybody the bus to say what I'm trying to say, but if you're going to be in the upper third of the SEC, you better have some of your offensive and defensive players littered all over a all SEC first or second team, or you're not going to be there.
Well, but there's a lot of transition and there's a lot of up and down with the SEC. I don't think Arkansas, they look great. They lost 3 in a row. Texas A&M already lost 3, right? Florida has not looked good. And so there are some games on the schedule. This is what I'm saying. If Brian Kelly is going to take LSU to a winning season this year, where would you go if you win Vegas now? You go 6-6, 7-5, or 8-4?
I'd probably, if I was Vegas, I'd set it at 6 point whatever, but I'm going 7-5.
I would say 7-5 right now is what they're going to end up. But I'd love to see 8-4. To get there, they've got to win Saturday, because if they don't, then you're 4-3. It's going to get ugly. You probably lose to Ole Miss and Bama, so now you're 4-5. You beat UAB 5-5, and you got to split. The 2 Arkansas and A&M.
So you think those are the 2 most likely losses, Ole Miss and Bama?
Right now. Ole Miss is going to come into this stadium next weekend undefeated, folks. They've got Auburn this weekend, and they're really good on defense, which is not normally the case for Lane Kiffin. But hang in there. We're not trying to be critical, but I want to see them utilize the talent a little bit more. And I do think Malik Neighbors needs to get more opportunities. I think he was a talk. Remember, he was a talk in the fall camp. And everybody has put him in the back corner in timeout because he fumbled 2 punts. You got to unleash number 8 and 7 and 10 and 2 and 11.
Absolutely. They've got to get some of those guys back, though. So what are we, at least 2 weeks away from Major Burns?
Oh, no. Major Burns is probably –
He said 3 to 6 weeks 2 weeks ago.
Well, and the good thing about it is now you got an open date. So remember, after Ole Miss, you got the obligatory open date for Alabama. So bad if you get Major Burns back. But I don't know, man. When you talk about neck injuries, that's hard to project.
Absolutely. I want to talk about who. It's if you're thinking about a home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial here in Baton Rouge. Dear friend of mine, someone that many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products. Whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options, Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Call Tony today at 225-239-7150. Again, 225-239-7150. And please, whatever you do, tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com NMLS number 104765, equal housing opportunities 70876. And let me also tell you, she's a huge LSU fan, and Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics.
Hey, I heard a Catholic High broadcast too. They support Catholic High. They are good people. You'll hear their commercials. Tony is.
You can't sit at a red light without seeing a bench, bus stop bench without an Assurance Financial person on it. But
fantastic.
Tony is who you want to deal with at Assurance.
No doubt about it.
And tell you, you heard about her right here on TigerBait, and she's the best.
Hey, I got to ask you, would you have put a poll up on TigerBait this week? How many people wanted to see Nussmeier in the Tennessee game? You made a great point. You're getting down 3 touchdowns. You could have thrown him in and seen if they would have had more success throwing and been able to hit some of these routes. We beat up Denbrock, but there's a lot of film showing there's a lot of guys wide open and they're not hitting them. But what do you think the poll would have said about the people who wanted to see Nussmeier late in that?
I mean, what if he throws an interception that's a deep ball? What's the difference between a 3 and out and then Tennessee coming down and scoring a touchdown anyways?
But what percentage of people you think wanted to see Nuss?
Oh, more than 2/3.
Really?
I think so.
I was going to say
When you were down, what was that margin? I mean, when you're down that many scores, you've got to throw it, and you've got to be able to be dynamic throwing the football.
the other thing I asked you on
But
the radio
but at the same time though, he would have taken some sacks.
But the other thing I asked you on the radio show, Jamie Howard's son, Walker Howard, everybody loves Walker, and he's coming. The question was asked, and we love this answer. He feels like he's the best quarterback on the team.
He absolutely.
So here am I asking you now, do they put him in a game later on, knowing that they can play 3 more games with him? Is he ready to go in against Ole Miss, Alabama, Arkansas, or A&M, in your opinion?
I would hold on to him Here's the thing. In order for him to get in a football game, you have to really be big on somebody, because Nussmeier gets to come in first.
Yeah.
So how many games could that be where you're up on somebody that big where 3 quarterbacks play?
But there's always a case of an injury, and if Jaden gets hurt, then you got Nuss starting and Walker's the backup.
I mean, is there ever a chance, though, that they would,
put him in to win a game?
Put Walker Howard in second?
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
I don't know. That's a good question.
But folks, a lot of people.
But I would hold on to him every week, and so that you're doing the calculation, so you're never in a scenario where we're like last bowl season. But he's yeah. And the thing about Walker is, for Kelly to say it the way he did is absolutely true. What do you think it's like for Walker Howard to be kind of one of the ringleaders or figureheads of his signing class, and his roommate and best buddy is Will Campbell?
Oh, that was scary.
So Will's a starter, and he has to redshirt, and he's close with Emory too. Emory comes in, wasn't a midterm grad, but now Emory's out there starting. So, it's got to be eating him up. He's competitive, and so, but he did it before. He did it in high school. He had to wait for the older Holstein to get out, and so it's going to be a very interesting offseason in spring. I'll say that, and I do think something else that we talked about in regards to what's going to happen. Because look, a lot of this, if you really step back and you look at what this season is, what it's likely to be, the cake is kind of baked. You got to have the attitude that this season is. You want to see what they have. You want the coaching staff to make some breakthroughs with the kids, but you're looking for the future. And I do think that it is going to be a 3 running back class.
Yeah, I like hearing.
And I do think it's going to be. I also think you're probably going to need a transfer portal quarterback.
I agree.
So.
Hey, one tidbit. We talked about Perkins. I'll tell you another guy who I didn't see enough on Saturday. And look, Matt House is a fantastic coordinator. I just didn't think he had a great game. When the analyst can draw a big hole in the TV circle and said, look, there's nobody in there, and they start hitting it like a boxer, that was not a good setup. That's why Jay Ward didn't make any tackles. He was all outside, and they were back. This will be a much more conventional 4-3 defense this week. But, man, I got to tell you.
How great of an offensive coordinator was Steve Ensminger in 2019?
Well,
how great was the offensive coordinator with Steve Ensminger from 20 whatever to 2018?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that goes for every position. There's some darn good football coaches on that team, on that staff. Wait till they get the Jims and Joes that LSU's supposed to have.
But I want to see Savion Jones play a little bit more. You had him picked higher, rated higher than Mason. He's one of LSU's better pass rushers. He ought to be in on every 3rd and long. Ali Gay had his best game in a long time. Ali Gay had 5 tackles. Ali has not had a lot of statistics. Jay Roy, got to ask you. Everybody thought going to blow up and go after this year.
I think Savion needs more playing time, and I think he's going to be big next year.
What about Jay Roy? Does he leave after this year?
I think he would want to. I think, he wanted to have a bang-out season.
But I don't right now.
I don't see he can't.
I don't see enough plays. And listen, speaking of that, we talked about Jay Ward with the turnover. How about a sack and a half, B.J. Ojolari? Man, I don't know if they held him, double-teamed him or what, but this was the other thing that frustrated LSU fans. 0 sacks. LSU has 13 sacks and has given up 21 sacks, Mike. That's not a good stat at the line of scrimmage. They had 1 tackle for loss and 1 quarterback hurry and 0 sacks. I don't ever want to see those stats again.
Paul Eskine, 35 Jones is way better than 11.
I think we're drinking out of the same community coffee.
I'm not going to say he's way better, but I think he needs more reps.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Ali did play better, though. But look, Savion Jones, you got to get after the passer. I didn't think House was aggressive enough getting after. And then when he did see the delayed blitz with Brooks, he forces the fumble, and the luck of the day goes right to the freaking orange.
Marcus Stewart, Jay Ward will be drafted 2nd round. I think you could be right. I think he's that good. And he goes in as soon as the season's over and starts working with a speed guy, and then he goes and runs a crazy 40. It's over.
Yeah, he's got to be around the line of scrimmage and make a lot of tackles. By the way, are you surprised ATN is so good for Florida this year? Did you see that as a high school kid?
I did.
I know you did, but I'm saying, man, he's even better than I thought.
For a while there, I was the only guy Trevor would talk to.
Yeah.
Even though I think he knew for a while he wasn't going to be LSU. Super kid, great student.
Man, he's running hard. LSU got to wrap him up. Linebackers are going to be a big part of LSU can stop their running game.
That could be one that comes back to bite LSU, because I'm going to tell you, I don't think the previous staff recruited him hard. I think they thought they didn't. He had an offer, but I don't think they really reached out to him or tried to recruit him hard enough. And that the new staff came in and Trucking with Casper with another super chat. Who starts at quarterback next year? Well, I'm going with Walker Howard.
Yeah, I think Walker Howard would be the Las Vegas favorite, and we're pulling for that young man. He's super classy. Like he said, he's learning patience. He's getting better each and every practice. I asked you the other day, what do you think Walker Howard will be playing at weight-wise, size-wise?
I would love to see.
Into 20.
I would love to see a spring roster and hear that he's 206 or 208.
6'1" or 2?
Yeah, I mean he's 6'1".
Okay. And 206, 208?
If his hair's fluffy, he's 6'1 1/4.
Okay. Well.
Von Bluesman, Mike and Buddy, I begged LSU to sign HN. And I think it's kind of just like his older brother. Jennings runs that veer offense, and a lot of college coaches look at that and see how the yards come, and they kind of scoff at it a little bit. But Trevor was a different beast than his brother Travis, built bigger, stronger. And now some said maybe he didn't have the mean streak that Travis has. So I'm anxious to see him and how he does this week.
This would be a big game for him now.
Yeah. I'll tell you this, had he been recruited with the same intensity that this staff has recruited Caleb and Trey Holly, I think they could have got Trevor. I think they would have got him. I just don't think the previous staff, they kept dropping him down their board, I think. And so, yeah, he had an offer, but I don't think the phone calls were coming. They didn't go after him. Ronald Shores, Noel fan here, pulling for y'all against Florida.
Hey, I've been watching Florida State a little bit, and they've had some tough losses the last couple of weeks. But look, they're a good, solid football team. Mike, how about this? What do you think of Mississippi State? Now, you look, they dropped a couple balls, and LSU boat raced them in the fourth quarter to beat them 21-0 in the fourth quarter and invariably win that game. But they're a good football team, and they have squashed A&M and Arkansas the last 2 weekends. So that's LSU's best win. But Florida State, I watch them because LSU's going to play again, and I think the fan bases get along, like we said last week.
Speaking of running backs, Harlan Berry again ran a Garland Gillian in the press box and said, "Where were you last night?" And he was at St. Martin's Episcopal, and another big night. That kid is racking up the yards. Super running back. If you get a chance to see St. Martin's Episcopal, check him out.
Hey, by the way, a third running back you said that LSU might
be
sign.
a transfer portal, I think.
Oh, okay, because there was a kid from Texas that wanted to commit. I forgot what that kid's name was, but there was some LSU.
I know who you're talking about.
Smoke before, but I like hearing it. And man, if you could get Diggs from Notre Dame, I'd certainly take him in a second.
How much more time does he have?
He's got a couple of years left.
Juwan Hearns, can we all agree that John Emery is a bust?
You know who we really want to see make money the last 6 games? Let's be honest. 4 and 7.
I don't like calling a kid a bust.
I don't think yet, but these last 6 games are mighty important.
I want good things for that kid. I really do. Look, these guys put in the work. They go to practice every day. They're in the weight room. Nobody wants to have more success than each one of those kids. You think he wants to fumble? No, he didn't want to fumble. But he did.
I'm not ready to call him a Dolly Parton.
Let's see here. Let's scroll up. Yeah, say it ain't so, says Trevor H.N. is really good. Chance Babin, LSU's roster is so imbalanced, but we'll still have 10 players drafted. Agree?
Look, Ali Gay is going to get drafted on his size. BJ is going to go. If Jaquelin Roy goes, that's 3 of the defensive line. And would you say they've been a disappointment? So I don't know if Micah Baskerville gets picked late. The corners, you know.
The thing about it is I think the things that we judge defensive linemen on these days doesn't apply anymore because of the offenses that they face and how quickly the ball gets out. And so I think when NFL scouts really look at Jaquelin Roy, they're going to think a lot more of. And then how often have we seen guys that had similar careers as Jaquelin Roy at LSU
blow up
in the NFL?
Blow up in the NFL, yeah. They're getting drafted on potential. So I don't know. Look, it sounds like a crazy number right now, but from the size standpoint, you know, I told somebody this the other day, Kayshon Boutte, when he runs at the LSU Pro Day in March, is going to look a lot better than he looks right now.
And when you see Jaquelin Roy in shorts and one of them T-shirts, I don't know what kind of 40 he needs to run for them. I don't know what his bench press is. I think the new strength and conditioning coach has him bench pressing more than Moffitt did. That wasn't one of his lifts. He didn't believe in it. So I think Jaquelin Roy will test, and the eyeball test will give him the benefit of the doubt with a lot of them.
Well, and here's the problem, Mike. I mean,
and he's athletic.
Well, no, but I'm saying you might have 9 or 10 or 8 or whatever it ends up being, but you still have a lot of holes in this roster, and it's a rebuild. And you're going to have 35 new players coming in.
Yeah, we are 26 to 31. I'm trying to is 35 the peak?
I think 35 is going to be where they're going to be at. There's going to be attrition. There's going to be medical situations. All that now always happens.
But if you're going to do, but how many of those 35 will be high school and how many will be portal? And in the portal, do you need to be a little bit more picky?
Mm-hmm. Well, they have to fill bodies when they're coming over here. That's what we said earlier. Every LSU fan's got to understand what happened from 40 at the bowl game to get to 75-ish, and you gotta tip your hat. The problem is that once you start playing, they expect them to play a little better. I do hope they come out focused and make a better account of themselves, because that was embarrassing.
Guys, go to TigerBait and subscribe after the show. You can try us out for $1. You really need to see the interview and the nearly 8 minutes of footage we have on Catholic High's Blaine Bradford, the class of 26 defensive back. Watch that video that we shot and tell me if you think that looks like a ninth grader to you. That kid is going to be – everybody in the country is going to want him. He's already got A&M, Tennessee, Mississippi State, LSU offers. And then when you hear him speak, talk about a super kid. Go watch that. Try us out for $1. I've got a couple of more. I've actually got up to 5 or 6 recruiting updates coming your ways. I got 2 of them in my inbox from Casey, including the last commitment for Kim Mulkey. Got a women's basketball recruiting story coming your way. So we've got a lot going to be loaded on TigerBait in the next few days. And then I'm hitting the road Friday night. I'm not going to say where, but I'm excited about who I'm going to see. And so we've got a lot on TigerBait.com. We want to have you as a premium subscriber. And like I always say, try us out for $1. But when you check that box on the back end, choose the annual package versus the monthly. You're basically getting 3 months free when you choose the annual, and you only get billed one time. And if you're an LSU fan, I really think you'll enjoy the website.
Hey, speaking of Catholic High, I had a buddy of mine, and he had a few cocktails after the game. He goes, man, I sure wish Shelton Sampson could play for LSU now. He said, you seen how tall that kid is? I said, yeah, he looks like he's growing. Is he 6'4", 6'5"? What is he right now?
He's there, yeah.
He says with Jaden Daniels' propensity to throw high, he thought Sampson could have a little bit kind of being. But what do you project him now? I think all of these people now giving him 5 stars. Is he really going to come in here and be a factor? Or is it going to take, like Brian Thomas Jr. and others, maybe a good year?
I think he's – I don't want to say he's a near carbon copy of Brian Thomas, but he's similar.
Okay.
But obviously he's got a better quarterback than Thomas did his senior year. And one of the things I said in the offseason was I want to see Shelton take over a football game.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's had multiple big games this season.
He has.
So, and I'm unaware of any injuries that he's had, knock on wood. So he's been healthy. That was another thing that I was, because he didn't participate in spring camp. He didn't work out 7-on-7 camp. He didn't do anything. Most of spring he was, I think it was a groin or maybe a hamstring. So that's all stacking up real good for Sampson.
And that DB, folks, is like Mike said, he is mature beyond his age. He looks good, man.
Yeah. I don't want to use the S word, but when you start looking at a 9th grade defensive back that looks like this kid,
mm-hmm.
you start thinking like when they stand out like that, is he the next Stingley? Is he going to be in that realm? And when you got the kind of offers that he's already started to get, what's the limit on it? You look at him physically. There's no way you think that kid's a 9th grader.
Stingley got his first interception, by the way, last weekend with the Houston Texans. Look, I thought you were going with the next star DB.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
From the boot. And look, let's be honest. No disrespect to these guys. We don't like to beat them up, Mike. They don't have enough snot knockers. They don't have enough mean mofos out there who, when they meet that ball carrier, they push him back. How many times have they fallen over? You hit a guy 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage. He makes the first down. This is going to be a physical game at the line of scrimmage. We're going to find out if LSU could play at the line of scrimmage with Florida. But I know Brian Kelly and all the rest of them need to recruit more physical players because look, that's where it starts. You get them here, then you build them up. But LSU is not a physical team again. Who's the best snot knocker on the team? Who knocks the crap out of somebody every time they deliver a blow? Jay Ward probably this year.
Or Brooks.
Huh?
Brooks is, he can.
Brooks, yeah, but he's a little bitty guy.
But he ain't afraid.
No, he's not afraid. But I'm just saying, you got to get some 6'2", 210, 215 safeties that welcome.
Major Burns was laying the wood before.
Yeah, but he's been hurt a bunch
the
last 2 years.
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm just saying they got to get more physical on defense and offense. And I think those coaches are going to recruit that way.
I think they need more DBs. Is it David Jones at Madison Prep? Could he get one? The defensive back at Southern Lab who's committed to Baylor that runs a 4.3. I'm trying to figure out if there's some guys on the back end that can get an offer from LSU. I think there could be one or two of them that do.
Yeah.
We filmed Caden Jones last week, 2 weeks ago. I would not.
Hey, what was that?
I like Caden, but I would not take a flyer.
Who was the offensive lineman that you liked earlier? They had in Dutchtown or something?
Ethan over at Dutchtown.
Huh?
Ethan over at Dutchtown. I would take him ahead of Caden.
You think he might get an offer?
I don't know. You know, he's a hard worker. I know that they wish, maybe he was a little leaner. I don't know.
And what about?
But I would, knowing his work ethic and everything I'm told by the people out in Dutchtown, I wouldn't mind taking a kid like that late.
St. Martinville wide receiver gets one at the end or not? Harvey?
I don't think so.
No? Okay.
I like Harvey, but saw him up against Derek.
Okay. Well, look, that's the question. Are they going to get?
I think they've done a pretty good job of who they pinpointed. There were some kids that the old staff had offered that they didn't reoffer. So I think they've done a pretty good job of pinpointing the kids in Louisiana that should have committable offers. And they, and then you start adding the Tovianos of the world, and man, this class can really help you get your program on the way and be where you want it to be in a couple of years.
And you might get a late offer to a kid if he's a 3-star or maybe underrated. I saw they were going after a tight end, 3-star tight end that was committed to somebody, Vanderbilt or somebody. Those guys might come into this class, Mike, because of attrition and having extra numbers, being able to sign unlimited as long as you don't exceed 85.
Yeah, I started looking at 24, 25, 26. You got 10 kids in the state of Louisiana with offers right now for 24. You got 4 for 25. And look what you got here. You got 4 defensive backs, Foster at Easton, Jawan Johnson at Lafayette Christian, who's unbelievable, Wardell Mack. Wallace Foster blew his knee out start of the season. You got Singleton over at Manny. Talked to him earlier today. He's trying to get over here. And so there you go. Collage Cobbins over at Destrehan. So you got wide receivers, defensive linemen, defensive ends, Atkins over at Jonesboro Hodge. But what you don't see is a 24 quarterback in the state. I'm not seeing any running backs. So, and they have not, by the way, when you see in the databases, no matter where you look, if you see LSU with running back offers for 24, those are offers that were offered by the old staff.
Okay.
This staff has not offered any running backs for the class of 24 yet. That's kind of odd, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's a spot, and LSU always has a bunch of them. And I think when you go on running back by committee, you need to. By the way, who breaks out before? And we talked about Emory, and people are asking if he's a bust. And Keyshawn Booty, let's be honest. What I was trying to say earlier is what I'm seeing. I don't see him putting his foot in the ground and exploding. I think it was really good for his confidence. I looked at the tape a couple times. That wasn't an easy catch that he made in the end zone. He's dropped balls this year in the end zone, which gave him the problem with the phobia. That was a big catch. I'm hoping Booty is now going to move forward and put it in a high gear. We would love to see John Emory. Well, look, we're not fans. We're not cheering for anybody. We got to be objective. But it would be a great story to see 4 and 7, kick it up a notch this weekend. LSU needs more offense. They just do.
Absolutely.
Can't rely on Jaden Daniels to win every game, man.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. Y'all hit the like button on your way out if you haven't already. Go to TigerBait, subscribe, try us out. Like I said, I got a lot coming your way. Thanks to Buddy for coming in this week and another good show. And we've got post game on Saturday, Preston and I. So what time's kickoff? 6?
6. Game ends about 9:30 to 9:45. And
so probably 11:30, 11:45 post game.
I'm too old for that, folks. But look,
Most people watch our post-game show. It looks like on Sundays.
well, but you guys do a great job. We enjoy it and appreciate all you people.
All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. We'll see you next week. And go to TigerBait, subscribe. We want to have you. Good night.